Hello everyone, this is Katie Colleen here. Welcome back, Colleen Clan. Or if you're new, then come join the family. The theme for today's outfit is we'll never be able to fully vacuum all the sparkles out of my carpet. I'm talking glitter, rhinestones, sequins. So I will be making Flora's Magic Winx outfit from Winx Club. Now I've done quite a bit of Winx Club in the last year, but this will be my first transformation outfit where one of the girls is actually in fairy mode. I didn't really think Flora would be the first one I'd make. I have definitely been eyeing some Techna outfits. But we're doing Flora, and I'm sure it will come to no surprise to you guys that it's for another collab. We're doing a pink magical girl group, and it's any fandom you want as long as the magical girl is pink, and I said count me in, but only if I can do Winx Club. To be fair, even if I couldn't do Winx Club, I'd probably just pick a different fandom because I have no chill when it comes to my cosplay groups, let me tell you. Anyways, Flora is the pink girl of the Winx Club. Flora is the pink one. Extra little bonus that I already have Flora's casual outfit made before I even joined this collab. So I already have an outfit for her. And looking at this outfit, it's pretty simple. There's only like 5 seams. It's a very simple outfit to make. And so I was thinking how I could challenge myself. Because how many times have I made like a spandex crop top or bodysuit on this channel? Like, you guys must be getting bored of this stuff. You all know the drill. Yaya Han ultimate bodysuit pattern, 4-way matte stretch, cut, so, bam, it's another Supergirl. Oh wow, everyone's surprised. So I wanted to switch it up this time. And I wanted to sew this whole outfit out of sequins. Here it is. Now you may be thinking that's way too much fabric, and it is. I got enough fabric to basically make this costume 3 times over, and it's just because I really like these fabrics and I want to have some for my stash. So here they are. These are sequin stretch fabrics. So they have a good amount of stretch to them in this direction. And let me see. Yeah, you can definitely see the sparkle on camera. Look at that. I got both of these off Etsy. I do not like online fabric shopping very much, but they had really good reviews and looked amazing. So I will leave the links in the description if you also want to get yourself sparkly sequin fabric. Though you might want to finish the video first and see how much I struggle with this. So that's our fabrics. And for the pattern, I think I'm just going to draft it myself. There really isn't a whole lot going on with this outfit pattern-wise, and I think I'd spend just as much time making my own fitted mock-up as I would messing with a commercial pattern. So that means it's mock-up time! Let's go get Gertrude. With the help of Gertrude the dress form, I started making a mock-up for this outfit. And the fabric I'm using for my mock-up is actually old t-shirts from my job I quit. I don't really want to get into it on YouTube, but basically I did end up with quite a bit of merch from this company, and it was like the really poor quality thin t-shirts that start pilling really quickly. So I didn't think a thrift store would want my old work shirts, so I decided I'd just use them as mock-up fabric for my projects. And let me tell you, did it feel good cutting these guys up. So anyways, so taking the pattern I draped on the dress form, I'm cutting out all the pieces with seam allowance and I'm sewing them together. Now I think a good practice when making mock-ups like this is to use a really obnoxiously colored thread so that when you have to tear the mock-up later, it's easier to see the thread and tear it out. I think it turned out pretty good. I will need to take it in just a little bit on the sides. I think it needs to be more like that. Next, I also want to make it a bit longer. So with the skirt, I'm probably going to do an elasticized waist, just like my leggings are here. And I want the shirt to cover the elastic. You know, this is giving me like dark Flora vibes. Like, we all got to see a dark bloom, but not for any of the other girls, and this shirt pattern has no business looking this good in black and gray. So I feel good enough about this to tear it up and use this as a pattern for our lining layer. Now for the lining, I am using this stretch pink fabric. This is the same fabric I used for Flora's skirt for her casual outfit. It's a really thick stretch, so I'm hoping it will provide just a little bit of extra structure. And this will give me another try at this pattern before we really have to dig into the sequins. Here is our lining layer. You know, it looks pretty good. I'm not quite sure what happened like here. I think it's still fitting, just the tiniest bit loose. Like I think I could still take it in, but I don't really want to mess with it for now. I think I want to get the sequin layer done, and then if I need to do some really small fine tuning, I can. But this fits pretty well as it is, so it's time for sequins. Ooh, wow! Here's our sequined fabric. I have never worked with fabric that had so many sequins on it. I have worked with like sequined lace overlays, and with those I was able to just sew over the sequins. And it wasn't really a problem because there were only sequins in certain parts of the overlay and they weren't super thick or very dense. Now this is a different story. There's a lot of sequins on here and they're all very close together. And since doing those other sequined projects, I've learned that it's actually better to take a seam ripper and tear out the sequins that are going to be where you're sewing. So I am using, I believe, like a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So going over all the edges of my pieces and ripping out a 1/4 inch worth of sequins on all sides. This also just takes a lot of bulk out of the seam. It reduces the risk of breaking needles. It looks nicer. So I'm just gonna take the seam ripper and along all the edges, just give myself a clear sequin-free path to sew the seam allowance. Ta-da! Okay, well I got good news and I got bad news. Which do you want to hear first? So the good news is this is very extra. It's very extra. The bad news is I need to take it in. So it just needs to be I need to take it in quite a bit in the back. I think I can just take it in this back seam. It's pretty baggy. The sequins definitely are stretchier than the lining layer. Like this is pretty thick and the sequin layer, it's pretty thin fabric. And so I don't know if the sequins just got stretched out or if I just cut everything out a little bit bigger because I was cutting through all these sequins. So unfortunately, I need to take this in the back, and that means going back through, cutting out that seam that I'd already ripped sequins out of, re-ripping the sequins about 1 inch out, and re-sewing that seam. Welcome back. My haircut is exposing how long I've spent working on this video. So I have ripped out the sequins along the top and the bottom, but before I attach the outside layer to the lining layer, I want to add straps. Flora does not have straps. It's a little strapless top. The thing is, I just don't have the figure to hold up a strapless top, and on top of that, as a wheelchair user, like the feeling of using your hands to push the wheelchair but also feeling your top sliding down, but in order to fix it you have to like take your hands off the wheels and then you're like rolling away and you're trying to like do both at the same time while doing this motion that like actively makes your top fall down. Maybe that's too much information, but long story short, I'm going to add little noodle straps to this costume so it's more comfortable for me. I don't want to make them out of sequins though, like that sounds first of all, horribly uncomfortable, but also really difficult to make, and I'd have to rip out even more sequins. However, I noticed that with my sequin fabric, there is a good few inches of salvage, which is the same stretch velvet, but without the sequins sewed on. So I'm gonna see if there's enough of that salvage for me to cut the straps out of the salvage. Unfortunately, the sequins are not even with the salvage, because like, who would use the salvage? Like, why would someone use the salvage? Colleen would, of course. So I ended up actually having to rip out some sequins anyways. Then I could fold over that fabric, sew it down, we have straps. So next, with everything already torn out and ready to go, I'm gonna sew our outside layer to our lining, and I'm just gonna sandwich these straps in. With each stitch, I'm starting to realize why, when I said I wanted to work with stretch sequins, everyone was like, ooh, you sure? So I'm realizing a lot of my difficulties is just that the stretch sequin layer is way stretchier than my lining layer. So I had to kind of like stretch the sequins as I was sewing so that that layer would match up with the other layer and they could still work together even though one was much stretchier than the other. And seeing how we've already kind of gone through this process with the top, I don't think I need to go into too much detail with the skirt. It's really the same process, just a different item of clothing. I cut out the rough shape that I wanted for Flora's skirt, and then it's on to cutting it out in the lining layer, trying it on, cutting it out in the sequin layer, and then ripping out sequins for a few more hours. I don't usually show my potato state on YouTube, but this is how I actually look when I'm ripping out these sequins. I found that I could just sit on the couch and I have a towel to like catch some of the sequins. It doesn't catch all of them, but it does catch at least some of them. And I just rip sequins while I watch TV on the couch. This skirt is so fun. And I realized that in the mornings when the sun is coming through my window, this outfit can project like a whole disco vibe around this room. Like, it reflects the light onto the walls. On Flora's outfit, underneath the skirt, she has a pair of like dark pink shorts. I was going to wear these like black spandex shorts until I really looked at the reference images and realized that the dark pink shorts they're like part of her outfit. At first I thought they were more of like a modesty panel thing for some of the artworks, but no, they're part of her outfit. She has the dark pink under her skirt and you're kind of meant to see it on this little skirt slit. I'm gonna be making a pair of undershorts in the dark pink sequin fabric. If I had really thought about this, I might have bought like a matching dark pink that wasn't sequins, but we are too deep now, guys. We're making out a sequin. And I'm skipping the mock-up step with the shorts because I have the pattern from my Batgirl cosplay. So I'm just gonna go straight into the lining layer. Then I can sew those outside seams, rip out those sequins, and I'll have shorts. Attach that to the lining layer. Welcome to weekend number 3 of Sequin Flora. Technically month number 2 if we count all the work I was doing on this build in like the accessories and stuff before I broke out the sequins. So it's been a while. And we are finishing this weekend. As you can imagine, 3 full weeks of working with sequin fabric has left my craft rooms in a state of distress. So all that is left for the outfit is attaching our shorts to our skirt. As much as these are a fantastic statement piece on their own, I think it just makes more sense to attach them to the skirt so it's only 1 waistband instead of 2. I thought about having the waistband be of sequins or just be from the stretch velvet fabric on the salvage. And after I've really thought about it, I think the best option is to have the waistband be from the lining fabric, because this lining fabric is really thick and strong. And I have thankfully patterned these out high-waisted enough that that waistband will definitely be hidden under the top. So only myself and you guys watching will actually know the waistband is the wrong fabric. And then we can move on to Flora's arm things. Now I have a different sequin fabric for her arm things. This sequin fabric is more like the sequins I've worked with before. They're very small, they're much thinner, and all the sequins lay flat. So I don't think ripping out sequins is necessary. I think I'll just sew through them. The fabric is so thin, I'm not even sure I could rip out these sequins without damaging the fabric. Our little arm sleevey things are done. They are a little bit itchy because I didn't tear off the sequins, but not unbearably so. They feel fine. So let's jump into some of the other accessories. First, I want to talk about the wig. Flora did get a wig upgrade from the wig I used in her casual outfit video. So I ended up getting a lace front Arta wig for Flora. I want to say this is a Matilda in the color sandy brown. So to ventilate a lace front, I first plucked out by hand all of the brown hair where I wanted the blonde hair to be. And then I took an extra weft of blonde hair, also from Arta Wigs, and I used a wig ventilating tool, like this little metal hook, and I just started tying the blonde hair. This is really tedious. It's definitely worse than tearing out sequins, I think. And basically you are tying just like 2 hairs at a time, like 2 hairs at a time. Tying that onto these tiny, tiny little lace squares. It took a really long time, even for such a small amount of hair, but it just looks so, so natural, and it looks so nice. I think it's worth it. I also have Flora's necklace. So the flower charm I purchased off of Etsy from Pixie Manufacturing. I will link in the description. And this is just a 3D printed charm. It did not come with the choker though, so I had to make the choker. This is just the ribbon and the fabric I used for Flora's wings, and I just made my own choker really quick. Speaking of Flora's wings, if you'd like to see how I made her wings, I have that in a separate video where I really go in depth about how I attach wings to wheelchairs and adaptive costuming, and how I made those wings. Shoes. So I looked so hard for pink sparkly heeled boots, and I just could not find shoes that were the right shade of pink or the right style. So I bought a pair of plain pink boots that were the right color and style, and I am sparkling them myself. This is done with rhinestones, which is yet another first for this cosplay. This is my first time using the rhinestone gun. So I got this heat fix rhinestone gun for my Yuri cosplay from Yuri on Ice. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't think I'll ever finish that cosplay. It's like a single layer of a suit jacket right now, and I don't think I'm gonna finish it. But I did still want to get use out of the rhinestone gun that I bought for that project. So rhinestoning shoes. So I got a whole bunch of heat fix rhinestones, and these are super easy to apply. Again, kind of tedious, but I think of all the things I've done for this cosplay, this was probably the most fun. After this video, I may go back later and add some more rhinestones to the rest of the shoe. I just wanted something sparkly for now. But before we get to the cosplay showcase, okay, this has been about a month's worth of sparkly fabric, if you count when I started on the wings. So we have about a month of sparkle fabric used in these craft rooms. Let's assess the damage. So here is craft room number 1. This is the craft room I use for sewing. Yeah. It's a lot next to the sewing machine. And here is my second craft room. So this is the craft room where I cut all the fabric out. It's pretty bad. It's not just these rooms, they've migrated to every room in the house. Ugh. Final thoughts. This is the most extra costume I own. no contest, by far the most extra, and I love it. I'm really proud of myself for branching out and trying some new techniques and some new materials on this one. I used to do a lot more of that, but the thing with learning new techniques is it takes longer to make the costume. I have been working on this costume since like January in some capacity. It's all I've really made this year. In ye old days of Colleen Cosplay, I was able to just make 5 tutorial videos off of a costume like this, and everyone just kind of got bored of that, and I got bored of that, so now I put the entire costume into a 20-minute video because that's what people want to see. So it's definitely a tough balancing act of wanting to use more new techniques and learning and challenging myself, but also trying to make costumes like on a timeline that works with YouTube, because, you know, it took me 3 months to make this or so, and it's just one YouTube video. Who knows, maybe I can work something out with my YouTube schedule to do some bigger builds like this and have it, you know, still be entertaining for you guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!